All right, welcome. It's week 11, I believe, which means we're officially halfway. Oh, wait, is it? Yeah, week 11, I believe. Um, which means we're officially halfway through, which
That's
is
great.
sad. I know. I know. Time just keeps marching on. Waits for no one. Oh, it's wild too. I keep thinking about I got here in Omaha like New Year's Eve last year. I moved all my stuff out of my Denver condo like December. It was like mid-December. Moved it here and then flew back to New Jersey for the holidays and then came back here on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, damn, I've been here a year already almost, which feels really wild. And still not ready to claim it home totally, which is something I've been working through. Um, but it feels good. Yeah. Um,
Good old Omaha.
yeah, good old Omaha. You know, it's funny. I was just having lunch with a friend of mine who I met here, who she actually is. Well, she grew up all over, but then she went to school in Colorado, and then her whole family ended up moving there, and her whole family's in Colorado, and then she's here. It was like a work thing that she got put here, and then she met her husband, and now has kids, and she's like, I don't. She's like, I don't know if my because she was saying that she was saying how she likes it, and she's like, I think it was because like my expectations were so low. She's like, it's definitely exceeded them. I'm like, okay, that's good. Anyway, so it's been fun to like build community and yeah. Anyway, just being in a new place sometimes helps like change things up. Anyway, enough about that. Let's do a little meditation to kind of drop us in. I'm excited about today's topics. And yeah, the whole identity thing is just such a strong piece, and that's why we're going to spend a lot of time on it. But yeah, let's drop in and come into our space. So just close your eyes down, take a couple deep breaths, letting go of everything that's happened today, bringing all of your attention, all of your awareness into this present moment, using that breath to anchor you into your body, into the now. Doing a little body scan, see if you're holding on to any tension, and just signaling to your body to totally relax. You are safe to let go. I want you to just focus your attention to the innermost part of you, down towards your belly, deep, deep, deep within, the part of you that's unchanging and ever present. Connect in with that part. That part of you that's witnessing your body change, that's witnessing the passage of time, that's witnessing the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations. The unchanging part of you that never dies, always present. When you're ready, start deepening your breath, wiggling your toes and your fingers, and blinking your eyes open. All right, let's share wins.
So, my win, I don't know how I would summarize it in one sentence, but I went on a vacation, um,
Right, I
that my
saw.
girlfriend like suggested, like, oh, let me take you to a nice place for your birthday. And our dynamic is typically that I'm the leader, I'm the overthinker. I think ahead and plan everything. And her idea of taking somebody on the trip was booking the flight and Airbnb and kind of figuring out the rest as we go. And it was really like stressful for me because she said she thought that I was being a brat, and I'm like, just want to relax. So just being
Oh
able
man.
to, be and like there were things that happened that really triggered her anger, and I was just completely fine. Like we got locked out of our Airbnb and couldn't leave to the airport, so we had to rebook the flight and spend there an extra day. And I'm like, extra day on the island, no problem. So just being able to take a nice break and not let, somebody else's like close to me anger,
Yeah,
influence how I feel, I thought was pretty remarkable. Just the strength that I was naturally able to control that and
yeah,
not even be triggered by it. Just be like, okay, it is what it is. And
yeah.
that's interesting. I'm good.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
So
And yeah,
just
and clearly she was triggered by you. Right. And so that's her own thing to deal with, right? If she thinks that you're being that way, right? Yeah, and where were you? It looked
Puerto
awesome.
Rico.
Oh, nice. I'm supposed to be going to Puerto Rico in March, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to make it there, but I'm going to be gone the whole month of February, and so I'm like, is that going to be too much? But yeah.
Why not? Why not?
No,
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful place. Beautiful
we'll
place,
just decide for you. No.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's like more of like guilt around leaving Tim again. But I'll have to deal with that.
Right, distance or absence makes the heart
The
grow
heart grow
fonder.
fonder.
So
I know. That's what I keep telling him. Anyway, yeah. Cool. And I'm always like, you could travel with me, but you got work and kids. Sorry.
yeah,
Um, cool. That's awesome though. And yeah, I think it's really challenging to like hold ourselves like when somebody else is like their flusterness. Um, and yeah, I think that that's powerful, right? When we can just like be like, nope, I'm not going to dim myself. I'm not going to shrink myself. I'm not going to change for you. That's powerful. So
yeah. And I was like, I recognize you're angry, and like, is there anything I can do for you, or because I'm good.
yeah,
I'm hanging. So if I could be the calm one and be here for you right now, I'm happy to.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, it was good not to fall into the bitching
yeah,
pattern with her. So
yeah.
grateful
Awesome.
for that.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Cool.
So, I interviewed for a job this week and I realized
Cool.
um my pattern that I have voluntarily left all of my jobs. And I realized the only common denominator in all the situations is myself.
Sometimes it hurts. You're like, shit.
I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm just realizing like it made me appreciate what I do have
Mm,
in my current role and the people that I do work with and how much like I let fear and my own like feeling of like inadequacy
mm,
make me want to run
mm.
and escape. So just like really trying to work on my perspective and not come from a place of not feeling good enough.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's an amazing awareness. So kudos to you on that. And I can relate to that so much. Yeah, I do too. That has been my pattern in relationships and also jobs, like especially early in my career, I kept moving like, and it's that what I learned about me, it's that like, oh, I'll reject you before you reject me. And it's total protection. And yeah, and it's why I've churned through boyfriends and it's it's a real thing. And until I became aware of it, I was like, oh shit. But we take our power back when we realize like, oh, it's me and I can change me, right? Because otherwise, and I see it all the time, I see it with clients that I work with who are 60, 70, where they're still running. They're running from relationship to relationship, they're running from job to job, firm to firm, and they still are pointing the finger outward. And so, yeah, and that can run your whole life. And so many people live that way. So just like having that awareness, it reclaims your power, and that's awesome.
Yeah. But I'm realizing how much it's like almost like, well, if I say that they're shitty first, then it couldn't possibly be
Yeah.
my perspective.
Yeah. Yep. And then I build a whole case and I get people to agree with me. Right? I'm really good at that. And but it's the same thing, right? And it is just it's a wall, it's a defense. And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to fight that. I think what I've been experiencing with like in that department is just it's such a strong belief that you're not enough, that you're not worth it, that it makes it so like it feels like it's impossible to change that. But that's why we have Adrian
Yeah.
and to show us the way, because God.
And honestly, I'm not kidding. Like when I was doing that voice transmission, which I love that you heard Courtney heard Tim singing in the background. I was so mad at him. I was like, shut up. Anyway,
I was
anyway.
laughing so hard because I'm like, that is some stuff that my husband would do. And like, I just recorded like 7 minutes of my time. And then at the very end, you want to come in loud.
Yes, I know. And I was like, I'm not redoing this. Yeah.
You're like, and anyway, see you next week.
Yeah. Um, But I had this whole thing like so I had taken an edible or I smoked the vape pen. I forget what I did. Anyway, but I got high and I was having this whole spiral in my mind, right? And it was this whole case against me about why I'm a bad person and about how I like how do I even explain it? Like use people for my own benefit and like churn through people. It was actually like kind of about the same thing. And I was like, I'm just not gonna believe this narrative. I'm not gonna fall for it. And I'm just gonna sit here and watch my mind come up with like all this fucked up stuff. And I got into that place where it really did feel powerful, where I was just like, yep, not buying into it, not buying into it. But I was like, I could see how if I was buying into it, oh my God, that would have put me into like a depression. Like I would have been like feeling awful, feeling guilty, feeling shame, feeling all of this stuff. And that's what our mind can do to us. And that's why I was like, this isn't me, right? Like I smoked maybe on some frequency that's like attracting in these like negative thoughts. I don't know what this is, but I'm not going to buy it. And it made me think about too, and I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but it made me think about my friend who I told you about who just took her life. And I think about how she probably had this like what could have been going on in her mind to have this narrative that she felt that that was a better option, that like right, and it's believing thoughts like that are like insidious thoughts, being like, oh, the world would be better off without you and nobody cares about me or whatever it is. Like you have to be in like such a dark place for that. And so there's so much power in not believing our thoughts. And so like when our mind starts to like go into this like whether it's a case against the firm or a case against yourself or whatever it is, like could you just be like, interesting, not gonna buy into it, right? We can think of it as like the friend, like Claudia's friend got mad at her. We can think of it as like this little inner roommate who's like being a little bitch. We can just be like, sit down. Um, yeah, I just think that there's so much power in that. And actually, it's going to tie into what we're talking about today, which is the truth of who we really are. And also, first, I want to talk about interbeing. So, we forget that everything is connected. And I love the term interbeing. It was coined by a Buddhist named Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's a famous Buddhist teacher. And it's about how everything truly is connected. We are connected to everything. And like if you think about like take this piece of paper, for example, it's just a piece of paper. But this piece of paper came from a tree, right? That tree used soil, earth, it used rain and sunlight to grow. And then there were loggers that came down and took the tree down, and then it went through like some sort of mill, right, to then come up and got packaged and somehow ended up in my hands as this piece of paper. And then I will throw this paper away. It will go back to the earth. It will go back into the soil. It will compost back into that and become part of the all again. And so I just want you to think about like when you're like, can we be mindful and present about our connection to all things and all of life and to see how all of our actions, everything is connected. You know, they talk about like the butterfly effect, right? They say like a butterfly flaps its wings and like a tsunami happens on the other side of the world. And that's what's really interesting is that small things can be big things. And we're going to get into like universal laws after we do the identity for the next several weeks. But one of the laws is as within, so without. And that law is that little things are big things. Little things can have a big impact. And so everything is connected. The other thing I want to say too is like if you look around the room and where you are, yes, there's space, but the space is not empty. The space is filled with air, right? We know that because we're breathing. It's filled with like particles and atoms and things that we can't necessarily see, but it's not empty space. And so even just this is like connecting us all in like a sea, like right, we're in like a sea of molecules, you can call it or something, right? And so there's just this interconnection between everyone and everything. And it's a beautiful thing. And so when we all are connected like this, I want you to understand too that again, it's kind of like those thoughts. Like thoughts can come from wherever. Our brain is just a radio receiver, right? And thoughts can be coming in and they can be coming in from someone else. Maybe there's another person there, and the thoughts are coming in from that. um, who really knows where thoughts come from? If you really try to look and watch your mind, like where did that thought come from? And then where does it return to? Comes from nothingness, it goes back into nothingness, right? It's just kind of this void. Um, but I like to think about interbeing also in that like my actions have rippling effects. So there's this documentary that I really like. It's this really old documentary. It's called Life After Life. And it's like, I don't know, six people, seven people that are talking about their near-death experience and what they experienced in that. And all of them said that what they saw was something called like a life review where they saw their life and they saw how like their actions impacted others. So what they would see is, okay, if they were nice to the cashier, that cashier then went home and was nice to his wife. And then the wife was in a good mood, and the wife went out and, bought a stranger a cup of coffee. And then that went out to somebody else or whatever it was. And it showed how their actions had such a bigger impact than they ever realized. And it goes with for both sides, like a nice positive action rippling out, or something negative where like maybe they were rude to somebody or they cut somebody off on the highway and then that person went home and like yelled at their wife and then that wife went out and got into a car accident, right? And like, so whatever is happening, like we are in this sea of oneness, whether we like it or not, actually, and we're just so interconnected. And so it's silly to think that we're like isolated and in silos and that everything we do is separate and doesn't have an impact on anybody else, because it does, because we all are living on this beautiful blue and green planet together. And so I like just being reminded of that, this like interbeing, that really nothing is even separate from us, that everything is connected, and we live in this sea of everything. Any questions about that? Thoughts? Comments? Um, and I would encourage you, sorry, Claudia, we're going to say something.
Yeah, like question, because you said that our brain is like a radio receiver and the thoughts can come from anywhere. So where do they come from?
That's a great question. We really don't know. It comes from like the ether, right? And it could come from, maybe it does come from, some of them come from an old program, right? That's just like running on repeat. But again, it could also just be coming from like somebody else. Like I remember one time I was helping out with, Tim was running a retreat, a ketamine retreat. This was a year and a half ago or so. And there was a woman who was going through a really difficult time, and she was like, I have so much anger. I'm so angry. And then like about it, like a little while later, I was like enraged and I was so mad. And I was like, oh my God, this is not my anger, actually. This is somebody else's anger. And yeah, it's triggering something in me. I have anger in me also. Let me like go vent this in like in a normal way. Rather than like, my mind was like really mad at Tim or something, right? And so I had to like cry, like stomp it out, kind of like release that anger, let it like move through me without like acting it out on somebody. But yeah, my whole point of it is it's like we really don't know. But like I just had this awareness all of a sudden where I was like, wait, this is not mine. And I know it sounds strange, but again, if we're living in this like sea of molecules and particles, like we're picking up on things. Or this guy was telling me this weekend, and I thought that this was funny. So when I was with my Journey community over the weekend, I was talking to this guy who's a friend of mine who I've met through Journey, and he had gone through, when he first came to Journey, when he was going through a divorce, and it was like a really tough time for him, and he's in a great place now. And he was saying, he goes, yeah, when I first came to Journey, he's like, I was so like desperate for women's attention that I would like sit down and there would be like five girls around and they would all scatter, right? And because they were picking up on his energy, on that like neediness or whatever it was that he or creepiness even maybe that he was looking for. And those girls didn't know why they were like scattering away. They just felt like something was weird and they got up and left, right? And so it's just, we really don't know really, like, we don't quite understand everything. And I'm not going to sit here and claim that I do understand everything because everything is such a mystery. And the more I learn, the more I realize I really know shit, right? Because I'm like, there's so much more to learn. And all these things are actually just theories because a lot of them, like, we don't know for certain. Um, but yeah, we do know that it's not just space, right? We know that there's air, we know that there's particles, we know that there's like things here. It's not just empty space. So we don't know where the thoughts come from.
Yeah. Makes me think that when you're embracing the being connected to oneness, there's also needs I like there does need to be maybe not, I don't want to call it a protective thing, but like a filter so that, oh yeah, I see that you're angry, but I don't need to take it in, to kind of protect
Yeah,
yourself from that, but also stay connected. So doesn't make
totally.
logical sense, but it doesn't have to because it's
Totally, totally, right? And Yeah, the thing is too, like I used to be a lot more about the protection too, and I used to be like, oh my God, like I used to do like these meditations where I would put these like light bodies around me and stuff and be like, oh, I have to protect my energy. I don't do that so much anymore because I realize that it's actually all my energy, it's all me anyway. Everyone's just a reflection of me, and if I see something in somebody else, it actually is also in me, and trying to push away, cut off, run, hide from our darkness actually doesn't work. It comes up then in like creepier, worse ways. So yeah, I think it's just about an awareness of like knowing like, oh, this isn't mine. And I can allow it to be there and don't have to do anything about it. That's just me. If protection still feels good to you, yes, I encourage you to, put that like light cloth on or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, because
No,
the
that's
other part is like you automatically start connecting with people's emotions and taking them on, and that's just
Well,
unnecessary.
yeah, it is. It is.
Sorry, Courtney,
Hey,
you were
Courtney,
gonna
what were
say
you gonna say?
I was gonna say like, wow, that's something that I definitely do, but like if like someone if I feel like someone isn't like being treated the best
Mhm.
way and they mean a lot to me, like that person, then it's not that I like fuel them up, but I'm almost like, yeah, like you should not be treated that way. Like that's wrong. And
Yeah.
I notice how much like other people's energy
Mm.
I
Yeah.
take on as like wanting to protect them. But really
Yeah.
what happens is it
You
drains
get
me.
flustered. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Totally. And that's, again, like we were saying protection, but even like boundaries and like, you know what, like I want to be here for you, but I also like I don't want to get entangled into this. And I've told you before, you shouldn't be treated that way. And so if you're not going to help yourself, then I'm not going to sit here and listen to the complaints about it. Something like that.
Mm,
you know
yeah.
what else I just thought of too? That being connected to the oneness has an element of trust that everything happens
Mhm.
for a reason.
Yes.
And sometimes the best help you can offer someone is just recognize that they're in pain and let them figure it out. Um, so speaking of boundaries and all that, like, because what if you can pick up on it, my mind is like, how can you be connected, but then also not, pick up let
Yeah.
your receiver pick up all the negative crap, and it's like, okay, you will pick it up, but like you said, it's the awareness that isn't mine. Let's not believe it. Let's not feed into it.
Yeah.
And I could just let it come and let it go.
Yeah, and that's why I said like because for a long time, like when I first started on this path, especially like I was all about like controlling my thinking. I'm only gonna think positive thoughts. I'm gonna totally train my mind, positive thinking, no negative thinking. That's it, right? And then like if I would think negatively, like nope, nope, and I would like bring it back, bring it back. But what I realized is, first of all, there's a lot of effort and energy that goes into that, and it's like basically impossible to control every single one of your thoughts. It's they say like 60,000 thoughts a day. I think even more than that. I would say my mind is like 100,000 thoughts a day. I have a lot of thoughts, right? I mean, my brain is just constantly commenting on everything. It's like commentary, like, oh, I'm gonna go brush my teeth now, or I'm gonna go, or like, or oh, what is she wearing? Like just everything, right? So. I think it's impossible to control them. What I've found is even more powerful than controlling your thoughts is creating that space where you just don't believe them and you can just allow them to come and go and be like, okay, I'm going to sit in my place of power and I'm not going to believe him. And the mind's not going to stop, right? And it's like, pretend like you're watching a movie, like, oh, and honestly, it's not easy to do because we're so attached to the mind. I've used this analogy before, right? Like, here's the true self, here's the awareness, and here's the mind, and it's this, right? It feels so right here, right? It's so close. And so it feels like it's us. We think that it's us, but it's not because we're aware of it. And we watch it change, we watch the ups and downs. And so again, if we can just create a little bit of space and then just be able to witness them, there's so much more power in that. And then it actually lessens the power of the thoughts because we're not imbuing them with our own feelings, because it's really the feelings that are like thoughts are powerful, but it's actually the feelings are more powerful, right? So if we don't allow ourselves to get entangled with the thoughts, then it kind of diffuses them and they start to subside because they're not like getting our energy. Does that make sense?
Big time.
Okay. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, Claudia.
It's almost like feelings are do not equal the truth.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, not necessarily. And what really, the other thing that I've been really contemplating a lot recently is like, what is truth? What is even true? Like, what's true for me now was not true for me a year ago. It wasn't true for me a week ago, right? And so, truth is even something that can be different. Actually, that book, The Kabbalion, says all truths are half truths. And so like nothing is really the pinnacle of truth. We have such limited awareness, it's hard to even know what like real truth is. But I think that what we can start discerning is what's me, like what's mine, what does my own energy feel like, and what does somebody else's feel like. And I think that is a good thing to start like discerning, right? Because I will notice like again, like when I'm in an airport or something, like I start definitely picking up on a lot of other people's energy and I feel drained and I feel whatever. And I'm like, okay, because I'm not fully in my own energy. And I think that like, and I just will use some grounding meditations like while I'm sitting there or whatever, like just kind of drawing back into myself, claiming up all my energy and bringing it back in. Um, yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about the real you. Okay, so consciousness is what you are, right? That's always the first cause is consciousness. You are conscious, and you can use the word awareness too. You are conscious of your thoughts. You are conscious of your feelings. You are conscious, aware of, your body changing. And so I would argue it's the soul, right? That's the real you. Everything else here is just a set of tools. So your body, your personality, your thoughts, those are all tools that the soul is using to have a physical experience. And so you're not your body, you're not your mind, right? You are something much bigger than that. And I always like to say, like, how would you describe yourself if you landed on planet Earth today and had zero past? Right? Like, how would you even like start to describe yourself? Because most of the things that we describe ourselves with are things of the past. Even saying like, "Oh, I'm a woman," right? It's nothing more than just like a label. We're diminishing ourselves to a word, a label. So that's not the real you. Anything that can change is not the real you, right? So like your body changes, your thoughts change, the sensations change. Anything that changes is not the real you. And if you pay close enough attention, you will see that you are the awareness, the aware witness of sensations, thoughts, and feelings. And that's basically it. That's the three things that you experience: sensations, thoughts, and feelings. and they come and they go, right? And so nothing is real. I mean, we create so many problems in our head, don't we? A lot of things that we worry about. I love that quote from um I want to some writer. I love how I butcher these things. Um where it's like, I have known many, Mark Twain, maybe, I have known many worries in my life, most of which did not happen. Right. And it's because our mind is like creating these problems that like never even existed. So again, we want to just like be the witness of that mind. What's interesting too is that in this physical world that we live in, we can never truly own anything. Even our body is not technically like we don't own it. It's not ours because it's going to cease to exist at some point. It's just a temporary vehicle. But anything that we think that we own ends up owning you, right? So if you think that you own it, if you think that it's yours, it ends up owning you. And I think about that like when I think about my body, right? When I think about like how obsessed I get with my body and what my body looks like and what I'm eating and did I work out enough and blah, 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 right? And it's basically owning me. Or money, if you think you own money, right? That's another thing that can like start owning you because then you're like, oh, money, like I gotta do this for money, I gotta do blah, 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 right? It all becomes about money. And so just remember that we can't ever truly own anything here. And if we, but the mind, that's what the mind wants to do. The mind like wants it to be like the mind and the ego want things to build its sense of self. Oh, this is mine. This is mine. Actually, this is even what happens like when you watch like a toddler who says like my toy. And if you take away a my toy and a toddler will start screaming because it thinks that it's like it's growing its sense of self and that's what the ego is doing. It's like, oh, okay, this truck is a part of me. So don't take it away. This is mine, right? And so then they throw a fit like it's taken away. So you can see this even starting to play out in kids, right? Is this like, and it's just this egoic pattern of, okay, I'm going to claim this. I'm going to use that to help define myself. It's been a really interesting experiment, even like being living in Omaha this year, right? Because I think that this like reflects me at some point. And I moved from this, beautiful like luxury condo to this like shitty rental house that we're living in, right? And I'm like, and it's been very humbling for me, right? To be like, hmm, okay, right? But I'm like, if you don't try to define yourself by these things, then what does it even matter, right? Like, you can be happy anywhere. Can you give yourself permission to be happy anywhere? Can you give yourself permission to like let go of all those like labels and things that you thought that you were? So it's for me this year has been like a total like ego death in a lot of ways of like letting a lot of those things go and realizing I don't even, we create these things about like what we need to live, right? And no, I need very, very little to actually live and thrive, right? But desires are a different thing. If I desire something, well, great. I can desire it and I can use that to help me grow. But we don't want to get our sense of self invested in it. We don't need these things to for our sense of self. Does that make sense? So why like are we even having this like experience of separation? So I said it on that transmission, but the ego is it's the belief in separation, right? We believe that we're separate, but we're not. And source, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, wanted to experience itself. And so it started like individuating with different forms so it can have the experience of itself, right? So say you were born completely rich, right? Where you were totally taken care of. You had everything that you ever wanted. You knew that you were loved, you were adored, you had every single thing at your fingertips. Like you wouldn't even know anything else, right? So like what fun would that even be? It wouldn't be fun. So in order to experience anything, you always have to have the opposite. So if we're all one, okay, well then let's go separate so we can experience actually what oneness truly is and feels like. So this is my belief on what I believe like Source did. So this is the little picture I draw. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Mm.
So say this is the one consciousness, right? And it's actually I use it symbolical and I symbolically, right? It's probably not, it's not physical, it's not, we don't know, it's not really a thing. But one consciousness, you can call it source, God, creator. And then it has all these different lenses to that it individuated through. So like a person, a tree, an animal, an alien, the sun, right? All these different things are created from this. And we're all connected to this still. We're connected to it through our own consciousness. Actually, this is like one of the reasons, like, well, I believe like when we go to sleep at night, we go back into this. That's where we're going. We go back into the oneness and then we come back out. Go back into the oneness, we come back out and we recharge. This is why, like, you literally would go insane if you didn't sleep for like 5 days, right? If you were just awake, because you're not recharging your batteries back with source. That's my belief anyway. Um, but yeah. So yeah, what were you gonna say?
Okay, so I need to pause real quick. So one thing you said that I need clarity on,
Yes.
something about like the ego's purpose is to help us experience the opposite of what you know, like
Separation.
of
Yeah.
the separate. So can you just rephrase that and elaborate a little more?
Yeah, so I like to think of the ego as a like, have you ever gone scuba diving or like
Yeah.
snorkeling and you're wearing a mask so that you can see underwater? Like that's what I believe the ego is for us in physical reality. It's helping us, it's a mask that we're wearing over our consciousness to believe that to see in this realm to make us feel like we're separate. So really it's just the belief, it's just a and it's believing that we're separate. It's just a belief in separation. But it's not the truth.
But but it's that I get, but
Okay.
the like need to have it
Yeah.
um to then feel the opposite, what's like the opposite of like the oneness or
Mm.
um that part like
Yeah. So in order to experience something, you have to create the experience of its opposite, right? So if you're just oneness, you don't know how good it even feels, right? So then you create separation so that you can go back to oneness. So you can be like, ah, yes, this is amazing, right?
oh
Or like I was talking about the example of you're born rich, right? You're born super wealthy, right? It's just is what it is. So how do you even know? Like it's just your reality. But then if you go broke, right, you experience the opposite and then you go back to being wealthy. You're like, ah, right, this is awesome, right? And so you're never like, even if it's your experience, you don't really know it until you experience its opposite, until you know it's opposite. So I believe that's the game that we're playing here, right? Source experiencing itself as an individualized form so that we can then transcend this game and be like, oh, right, I'm one with everything. And so what's cool is that we can remember this while we're here, right? We don't have to die. Most people die and then they go back and they're like, oh, I I didn't realize that. Oh my gosh, now I understand that wasn't the truth. That was just a game I was playing. It was a character, it was a role. So what ends up happening, so it was designed to create the illusion, but then the problem becomes when we're transfixed by it, when we actually like forget that we're pretending. So, for example, we'll use the, and this is not probably the best example because I've actually never even seen Star Wars, but let's think about what are your favorite movies? Give me a favorite movie.
Yeah, Interstellar.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that movie. Courtney,
Uh,
do you have a favorite movie?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, perfect. All right. So say we're Ferris Bueller, right? And we're playing Ferris Bueller, and then you actually forget that you're playing a character, right? And you're just totally like transfixed by like, oh, I'm Ferris Bueller. This is the way life is. But then you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm not Ferris Bueller. I'm Matthew Broderick, right? And Claudia, you might be too young. You don't know if you know that this
I have
movie.
no idea what this movie is. I'm
Really?
sorry. I've never heard of it.
Wait, you've never heard of it? Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Which is
gosh.
funny
But
because
I also
Courtney,
didn't
I
grow
feel
up
like
in this country, so
Courtney,
don't feel
you're
bad.
young too. That's true. You didn't grow up in this country.
So yeah, I'm not dating you. Sorry.
So Matthew Broderick is the person who plays Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
So so that's that's like what we're doing. Like, oh, we can wake up and be like, oh, I'm not Adrian. This is silly. I'm Source. I'm God having this experience right now. Um, and when we do that, then we realize, oh shoot, I'm not separate from anything. Like I'm a billionaire because all the money in the world is actually mine, right? And I'm not separate from anything. And I just came down here to play and to have this experience. And yeah, the way I look at it is it's like source, and then our soul is like another fractal, and then it's us. And so, yeah, the soul came here maybe to experience like certain things, right? But ultimately, it's all one, like
Yeah.
this, right? Source is up here, and then it just gets narrower and narrower. So anyway, so yeah, we're just playing a game. We're here just um in this illusion of time and space and playing a role to experience, that those feelings of not being good enough because we actually know, like our soul knows that that's so silly. Do you ever notice like when you have thoughts like that about like I don't feel good enough or I'm terrible or I'm a bad person or whatever it is, they feel so shitty. They feel so shitty because that's your soul being like you're so off. That's so out of alignment. It is not the truth, right? But when you feel joy, when you feel excitement, when you feel love, that is the truth. You're more aligned to that truth. So those things feel good, right? Because you're more like connected to that. So the reason why we like, but maybe we're here to just experience like, oh my gosh, like I'm not good enough. And then we're gonna see at some point, like, oh my gosh, that's the silliest thing that we ever thought. Right?
Yeah,
You
it's
just made me think of sorry, Claudia.
crazy.
Um, you just made me think like I don't know why I thought of this, but like Jeff Bezos. It's like all of us on this call actually like own part of his billionaire
Yes.
because we've bought stuff on Amazon. So our hard
Yes.
work that has like accumulated the money to pay for the goods from Amazon, a portion of that is part of his billions.
Totally. Totally. Right? It just keeps getting like recycled and recycled. Like even thinking about totally. And right, and like think about everything, right? Like you guys paid me and then I use it to buy this MacBook computer and then it goes to Apple that pays their employees and then they go maybe they hire Megan, right? And they pay Megan's paycheck, right? Like it's just it's all freaking connected, right? And I use this analogy on that voice transmission, but like when you're a drop of water in an ocean, if you believe that you're just the drop of water, you're like, oh, I need to get bigger. It's me against everything else. Like, I need more water. But once you realize, like, oh shit, I'm connected to the whole ocean, I am the whole ocean. I don't care. I can be a drop. I can just flop back into all of the huge sea, right? You would never desire more water because you realize that you're connected to it all. And that's the place that we can get into, right? That we can feel like, ah, right, I'm connected to everything. I am everything. Yeah, that's a great awareness, Courtney. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that too. Um, I was thinking also about the evidence that we look for to confirm like what we think is true.
Yes.
And I've spent the last couple of days in some pretty dark thoughts myself, and just there's so much evidence that like life is not worth it. It's impossible to live a good life, and this, and that. But then I'm thinking of and listening to you talk about the truth is you are good enough. That's why you feel shitty having those experiences because your soul's like, you have no idea. You're magnificent and amazing, and you
Yeah.
just forget.
Yeah.
Um, and there are pieces of evidence in my life of that truth.
Mm.
So I think it's just, we always forget because the recognition of the soul part is so subtle. It
Yeah.
is so, so damn subtle.
It is. And I have to say, like, we are really advanced souls that want to come down to earth and play this game of limitation because it's really fucking hard. It's not, this is like a graduate school, like a master's level curriculum that we're in because it's freaking hard. Earth is fucking hard. There's hard shit happens here, right? And we forget and we're like, right? And we get entangled with it. And so, you know, yeah, it's not easy, right? And this is why like we have to remind ourselves over and over again, we have to remember that this is the perspective. And I like to even think about, and we'll get into this too. Again, this is another one of those like universal laws is the law of polarity, right? That everything has an opposite. But if you think about like, okay, so here's two opposites. Here's good enough and not good enough. They're two ends of the same thing, right? There's like a spectrum of this. But actually, like, what created both of these sides? There's one source that created both, right? And so, okay, what happens, I think a lot of times, like when we feel this, like not good enough, we're like, oh, I gotta do things, right? I gotta get to this place to feel good enough. What if we just like totally, I know it's gonna sound strange, but what if we just totally surrendered and accepted, yep, I'm not good enough. And actually, in that, you melt into this, into the oneness of everything. Oh, actually, like there's that. Like there's no way I can either be either or, right? Or like another example of that would be like everything and nothing. Oh, I am nothing. I'm nothing. I'm insignificant. I am nothing. And in accepting that, you actually then become everything. I had this like epiphany one time too about mushrooms, right? Mushrooms are so humble. They're freaking at our feet. We step all over them. Yet they are these like powerful things that we can take and be like connected to like literally see our oneness, right? Open up that lens of our consciousness, right? And like they don't care. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll be at your feet. You can walk and stomp all over us because we know that we're everything." And yeah, and I like thinking about that, right? Is like, okay, can I literally become nothing to then become everything, to realize I am everything? I know it's a little hard to explain. And I know it, and there's probably some resistance too when I say like, because I get it, I've lived with the not good enough for a long time. I still am repairing that wound. I still see that wound come up. Um, but okay, can I just accept not being good enough? and stop trying to fight it and stop trying to like do all these things to be good enough because actually in reality when I think about it like that's so silly that I would have to do anything to be good enough. Like, what do I have to do? Do you think God is going to be like at the gates of heaven with like your graduate degree or something? Be like, oh, no, you didn't do that, right? Like, I mean, it's just actually a silly concept when we really get down to it. But again, our mind is so powerful. Our mind can tear us down with these thoughts. So can we create this space of okay, I'm not going to believe these thoughts, right? I'm not going to allow my mind to tell me that I'm not a good person and that it's not worth it to be here and that there's whatever else is going on. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to give it that power anymore. I'm just going to be the aware witness of it, which is easier said than done. Because trust me, I teach this and it's even hard for me sometimes. I get so entangled with my stories in my mind. That's what was going on with me last Tuesday, right? I was in a bad spot last Tuesday, and it was just I was fully entangled, and I like knew it, but again, there was like some sort of like sadistic, like masochistic, like thing that like it felt good. Um, like I have this teacher who's like, it's like a toddler sitting in their poopy diaper, like, nah, like I'm just gonna sit in my shit, right? And that's kind of how I felt. Like it almost like felt good in a way, but it actually doesn't really feel good, right? We gotta emerge from that and be like, okay, let's do this stuff that I know fills me up, that I know makes me feel good, and drop this. So, any questions, thoughts? So, I forget if I sent the I am meditation. I thought I did send the I am meditation on this Telegram channel. If you guys have you guys done that one? It was early on. I'll resend the I am meditation. It's just a 7-minute meditation, but it's to help you drop those labels and sit into that oneness. It's only 7 minutes long, but I would encourage you if you can sit longer, like once it's done, just to sit in that space of oneness. It's a good meditation to do. I'm also going to send, I have a self-inquiry one that starts to get you to like turn that awareness back on itself, which again, this is your mind is going to be like spinning, like, what? I can't understand. Where is it? Like, where am I hearing this? Where is this? Like, but just kind of sink into it and just be like, just like get curious about it. And then the other one is a Louise Kay meditation. She's a woman I really like who teaches about non-duality and about like the awareness, the aware witness. And she has a 20-minute long meditation called Drop into Being. So if you have a longer amount of time and want to try that one, I really like it.
Thanks.
And then from here, after again, like we kind of like rip all of your titles, rip all of the things that we think we are away, then we're going to start next week on, okay, let's rebuild our identity on who we want to be. Right? Because actually we get to choose, which is really fun. We get to choose our identity.
Yeah.
We
One
don't.
other thing that came to mind that when you were talking about how would you describe yourself if you came here on Earth without anything,
Mhm.
the only reasonable thing, and this is the first time my brain ever came up with like anything, was like I am alive. And that is it. And that is it.
Ooh,
That makes me
I love
worthy.
it.
That is
Right?
I'm me and
That's
I'm
it.
alive. I'm
That's
alive.
it.
That's it.
I'm
That's all you need
alive.
to know. I'm alive.
Right? I love that. And
Yeah.
it's true, right? If like you like, yeah, that's it. I just am. I'm just here. I'm just
I just
alive.
am.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just am. You know? Who
Yeah.
are you? Who are you? I just am.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Totally. I love it.
Yeah.
And exactly, and that's like the space that we want to get into. Like all of the other things that we tell ourselves are just mental constructs. And so we can start to drop the ones that don't serve us anymore. Again, it's not always easy to do, but there's so much power in this when we start to disidentify from the mind.
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, the identity stuff I love, love, love. I think yeah, it's really cool. Claudia, I think you said you really like
I
it
love
too.
it.
Yeah.
Like you're building your own script for the actor that you want to be in your
Totally.
own life. And
Mhm. Yeah.
it's just, I don't know, like I've reached the point where I've had days where everything just flows so naturally, and I don't even have to look at the clock. It just works out one after another, down to the minute. Um, and that comes from believing in that identity, because otherwise you just, it's like we bring this up a lot, but the analogy of a garden, if you let it go, weeds are going to grow all over, and it's going to
Yeah,
be crap.
exactly. Totally.
So the identity part is like I associate a lot with like the inner gardening, um,
Yeah.
that breeds a lot of beauty and a lot of great flow, and just
Yeah.
and it's like the nature doesn't rush, but everything is done type of thing.
Yeah, I love that. Love
Yeah,
that.
so I'm excited
Yeah.
to.
The mind can really tear us down. And so again, we want to get to this place of like witnessing it and being like, nope, not today. I'm not going to buy into that right now. And that's it. And you're right. And it is like tending to our inner world, our inner garden, because that our inner world is our whole experience of life. I say it all the time, but like two people could be watching the same exact thing and having a very different experience. Like two people watching a sunset, one sees like beauty and awe, the other one feels like immense aloneness, and they're standing right next to each other. So we want to tend to this inner world. And so yeah, you guys are doing the good work here.
I have one more thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please. No, don't apologize. I love it.
Okay, good, good. The other thing that I noted while you were speaking was that I think there is a lot of like when you were talking about don't believe your thoughts. Um, I think that for me personally, and I'm hoping you guys can relate to at least to an extent, that I think my intelligence was a lot of like what I tied to my identity.
Mm.
And I think that it's so hard for me not to believe my thoughts, because what I do is think smartly. And if I
Yes.
can't believe myself, then who am I? I'm worthless. Um,
Mm.
so just an observation from me, and if you have
Mm.
any thoughts on experiencing that, like because I think it's hard to let go of my thoughts and believing my thoughts, because I associate myself with being smart and intelligent, and that being my value.
Yeah. Well, why does smart and intelligent have to mean your thoughts?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know.
Maybe it's something deeper, right? Maybe it's like,
Intuition,
yeah,
imagination, all those other things that we can use our brain for.
yeah. And maybe it's even, I totally understand this because I was the same way. And even as a little girl, I would always be like, oh, I'm really excited for like a car ride because I get to sit in the back seat and think. Always wanted to think. And that was like my thing. And I would like sit and I would like fantasize and I would use my mind. And so yeah, this takes a lot of like unlearning and undoing. But I want you to start just questioning, why does smart and intelligent mean thoughts? Because
Yeah,
like I sent out my Monday message this week that was about knowledge versus wisdom, right? And knowledge is just facts and it's just like, information in the brain. And but wisdom is like lived experience. There's like a richness to it. So I would just get curious about that. Maybe do some journaling around like why does intelligence mean thinking to you?
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it apart, put it back together the way I like it.
Let us know how it goes.
I will. I will.
Um,
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, awesome. Well, everyone have a great, great Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy
And
Thanksgiving, everyone.
happy
Yeah, happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Grateful for our community here.
Yes, I'm grateful for
Yes.
you ladies too so much. And if you need support during the holidays with things being crazy, hop on Telegram, share anything. I'm there to support you. Yeah.
Thank
Likewise.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and we have our new gang sign, right?
Yeah, right. Actually, I like it. Oh shoot. Yeah. I don't know if you guys could. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. Cool.
One.
Bye.
Love it.
Bye.
Amazing.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.